strategies and banking, Islamic banking practices, policies endorsed by Sharia advisors and committee members globally. Hence, we usually invite prominent speakers, researchers, and experts from all over the world. So today, our guest speaker is a prominent speaker and expert in Islamic banking and finance, Dr. RAZLI. Dr. RAZLI brings with him over 30 years of experience in banking and finance, with 25 years in Islamic finance. His proficiency lies in the transformation of traditional banking and financial operations into Sharia-compliant operations. He is one of council members of National Saving Bank Sharia Committee and sits as an independent and non-executive director of board in Wasiyah Family Office as BHD in Malaysia. He is currently a senior lecturer at Azman Hashim International Business School, University Technology, Malaysia, and an adjunct fellow of IIBF, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Dr. RAZLI was a director of Sharia and Business Advisory Department of Islamic Banking and Finance Institute, Malaysia, and responsible to advise more than 130 Islamic funds by local and international asset management companies. Finance Accreditation Agency and International Independent Quality Assurance and Accreditation Body for the financial services industry has appointed him as the FA panel member since 2014. He is also a regular speaker for Financial Sector Talent Enrichment Program, initiated by Asian Institute of Chartered Bankers under the Central Bank of Malaysia. Dr. RAZLI has co-authored Practical Islamic Finance books and journals. He is one of the appointed columnists in dagangnews.com, Malaysia, the latest business news portal focusing on business activities, corporate stocks, commodities, and entrepreneurs. Dr. RAZLI is a proficient trainer in operational aspects of banking and finance, where he has been invited to share his practical experience in many countries. He is also a member of Malaysian Institute of Management, and Dr. RAZLI obtained his Bachelor of Economics from Flinders University of South Australia, and he attained his Doctor of Philosophy in Management from Northern University of Malaysia. So this is an honor for us to welcome Dr. RAZLI to conduct today's lecture on Sharia non-compliant in Islamic banking issues in banking transactions. Please welcome, Doctor.
Okay, may I start?
Yes, please, Doctor.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for inviting me to this sharing knowledge of which everybody knows that, you know, when you have knowledge, when you die, one of the what we call it, the things that can help you after you die is the knowledge that you have already, share with other people. So this is a very, very important knowledge that perhaps I can share with all of you. Whatever that I have from my experience, 30 years experience in Malaysia. What I'm going to do today, basically, just sharing the knowledge of what happened in Malaysia, so that I know the regulatory is different from Malaysia and Kuwait, but whatever happened in Malaysia maybe can be a knowledge as well for all of you there. in order for you to implement Islamic finance, Islamic banking in Kuwait. I know that many of you are very, very knowledgeable in the Sharia and so on, but on the practical aspect of it, we also need to know that one of the very important thing that you need to know, Islamic finance is still small in this world. Okay, at the moment we are only having around 2 trillion, 2 or 3 trillion asset of Islamic finance in the whole world. It is comprises of around 1.8% of the total asset of Islamic finance throughout the world, meaning that we do not have the power to influence the finance sector of the world yet at the moment. But we are very sure, inshallah, we will reach that one time. So that is why the knowledge, the fundamental of knowledge of Islamic finance basically is very, very vital, very, very important for everybody, particularly for the students, for the master students, for the degree students, and so on, so that they know the basic requirement for implementing Islamic banking practices, so that whenever it comes to the real life, they understand well what's going on and they can do well as well. Right. One question, Brother Muhammad, the slide I will share or you will share?
Yes, Prof, you can share if it's comfortable.
I can share?
Yeah.
Okay.
The latest one that I have sent to you.
Yes,
Prof. Thank you.
Right. Let me see. Let me share the slide first. Yeah. Now the slide is no more. Hold on. Yeah. Give me a few minutes. Share. Okay, can you see?
Yes, Prof. Yes, it's visible.
All right.
Thank you.
So this is okay. Let me see. Where is this one? Okay. Shall I start? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So for today, I think we have 1 hour from now that we are going to talk about Sharia non-compliance in Islamic banking, issues in banking transaction. What I'm going to do basically is that to share with you, the Sharia non-compliance issues in banking transaction that happen in Malaysia, so that with these issues, it can make sure that we can learn together on how to mitigate the non-Sharia non-compliant from happening. Yeah, right. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, all right, these are some of the critical issues that we need to deal whenever we offer Islamic banking products. Okay, I think everybody knows that whenever you go to the bank, then there are many issues that you have to look at it. But all these particular issues must be ensured that we need to ensure it will comply with the Sharia requirement. So these are some of the issues that I think is very important to highlight here. Number one is system issues. Okay, whenever you want to deal with the transaction, we are using the system. We must make sure that the system can cater for all the Islamic banking transaction. We have governance issues. We have to follow. We have to make sure that we follow the governance issue. Regulatory issues. We have staff competency issues. Even now in Malaysia, for example, there are many staff that do not have the basic knowledge of Islamic finance, Islamic banking, but still working in Islamic banks. Okay, this is because of in Malaysia, we have a dual banking system. Dual banking system meaning that the conventional bank is operating parallel to the Islamic bank. And sometimes the staff in conventional bank can also sell the Islamic banking product produced by the Islamic banking bank. This is the issues of sometimes when the customer comes in, the customer asks about Islamic banking product, then the staff does not be able to explain well to the customer about the product, about the contract use, something like that. So the staff competency is one of the very, very big issue at the moment in Malaysia. And public awareness issues is very, very important as well. Everybody must be able to understand, because sometimes when we do Islamic banking, we forgot about our public, okay, our what we call our society. Do they understand about Islamic banking? So the awareness program should be done in order for the public to understand Islamic banking as well. Why? Because if the public do not understand about the awareness about the product, about the Islamic banking, then they will start asking a lot of questions. And of course, in Malaysia, they can compare with the conventional banking. So if conventional banking better than Islamic banking, then the customer will go to conventional banking instead of Islamic banking. So public awareness issues very, very critical at the moment as well. Not only for Malaysia, I think for everybody out there, because in Malaysia, the Muslim population is around 60 to 70% only. Other than that, there are non-Muslim like Chinese, Indians, and so on. Okay. Product and services issues, yes, sometimes the product and service issues happen also. The customer and the staff themselves sometimes do not understand about the product. And last one on the liquidity issues, and also the one that we are going to talk about today is basically on the Sharia issue. So in this slide, what I'm trying to say here, there are many, many, many issues for us to deal with in order for us to operate Islamic banking in the country. Okay, so these are some of them, and the main one is Sharia issue. All right, that's number one. Number two, when we are going to talk about Sharia non-compliant, ladies and gentlemen, I would like all of you to understand three words, three areas. Okay, number one, we need to understand what the meaning of regulatory. Second one, what is the meaning of about the governance, the green one, the governance. And the third one, what is the meaning of compliance? If you want to say about, you want to know about Sharia non-compliant or whatever, you need to know about these three words: regulatory, governance, and compliance. Once you understand this, I think you will understand how Islamic banking works. That is the secret that I'm going to tell you today, that you need to understand this. Now, what is regulatory? When we talk about Islamic banking, we're talking about regulatory. What is regulatory? Regulatory means that the law produced by the government. In banking, in Malaysia, we have Central Bank Act that has been issued by the government to regulate all banking industry in Malaysia. I know very well in Kuwait also, you also have the Central Bank of Kuwait law, right? So that is basically the regulatory things that you need to understand. When you study, you open up the CBK law, then you are looking at the regulatory aspect of Islamic banking. Okay, that's very, very important for you to know regulatory. I know Islamic banking, where I did some research as well. CBK law, there is a clear provision in the CBK law, chapter 3. regulation of the banking, Section 10, Article 86, allow the banks to do Islamic banking business, allow the bank to exercise banking to comply with Sharia requirement. So that is one law that has been, I think if you don't know, you should know lah, because you are living in Kuwait, right? CBK law, chapter 3, section 10, article number 86, talking about giving the power for the Central Bank Act to ask the bank to do, to exercise banking to comply with Sharia requirement. That's number one. And also, if you look at your CBK law, CBK is the Central Bank of Kuwait law, chapter 3 as well, section 10, article 93. Article 93. The establishment of the Sharia board of CBK. Right? You have that. Same like Malaysia. Malaysia also have the Central Bank Act for Malaysia. We also have a power, meaning that your Sharia board, Malaysian Sharia board, they have the power to regulate all the Sharia contracts in banking. So all the banks must ensure they follow the contracts or the regulator or the what we call the Sharia as mentioned by the Sharia board, meaning that CBK law has given your Sharia board the power to implement, to rule the Islamic banking transaction ataupun Islamic banking what we call it in Kuwait. Regulatory. Your CBK law is regulatory. That's number one. Number two, governance, Sharia governance, the governance. The governance, what is governance? Is basically the something like a policy that has been introduced. Like I can see from your Kuwait banking environment, I can see your regulation for implementing law. That's your governance. Any of the instruction is also your governance. The circular issued by the bank negara, by the central bank, is also your governance. The guidelines. Sometimes you have the ministerial resolution as well. In Kuwait, all of this basically is the governance that all the financial institutions in Kuwait must follow, must comply with this governance. Okay, you see, this is the governance. The first one, the act ataupun the law is basically the regulatory, and the governance will be talking about the policy, about the guidelines, about the manual, about the standard operating procedures. That one is in Malaysia. Policy document that we have in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we have what we call it as the Sharia governance policy documents. Very, very important policy document issued by who? By the central bank, by the Sharia board of the central bank, for all the bank to follow. That is the governance that we need to follow. Yeah, that is governance. Governance is the SOP of how to implement Islamic banking. Third one, compliance. What is compliance? Compliance simply means the act, your action to comply with the governance. If you comply with governance, you compliant. If you do not comply with governance, non-compliant. So make it simple. That is the basic rule that I think every student, every people that want to learn Islamic banking particularly must understand that. In Malaysia, it's very, very clear, crystal clear, the segregation between the regulatory Sharia governance and compliance. In Malaysia, I want to share with you, the regulatory is Central Bank Act 2009 that we have, And also we have Islamic Financial Services Act 2013 is also the regulatory. Okay, and then after the regulatory, we have the governance. The main one is Sharia governance policy document. That one is the governance, the policy that has been that rule all the Islamic financial institution in Malaysia, governance. And third one, compliance. Compliance meaning that every bank must follow. Every bank must follow the governance. If they do not follow, they do not comply. If they follow, they comply. So for your case in Kuwait, for example, you have the CBK law, right? CBK law basically is the regulatory. What is your governance? Any issuance of regulation for implementing law, any issuance of instruction by the central bank, any circular, any guidelines, any ministerial resolution that has been issued by the central bank, that is your governance. So you need to comply with that. If you comply with that, yes, compliant. If you do not comply with that, you are not compliant. So that is the thing in this slide you need to understand about these three words: regulatory, governance, and compliance. Okay, I hope you understand this. Can we go slow? So this is some of the definition that I put on. Maybe later Brother Muhammad can share the slide together with all of the participants that we have here. Okay, this is the what we call it, the explanation about the regulatory requirement. And we have Sharia governance that I'm talking about just now. And the third one is the Sharia compliant. So these are the three things that I explained before. Yeah. All right, that's point number one. Number two, I would like to share with you the issues on compliance in Malaysia. In Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen, we have 18 full-fledged Islamic bank. What does it mean? Full-fledged Islamic bank meaning that the bank only sell Islamic banking product. Okay, that is full-fledged Islamic bank. We also have, I think, around another 18 banks that doing the window banking. What is window banking? Window banking means the conventional bank can offer conventional product, and they can also offer Islamic product. Meaning that we have 18 banks full-fledged. You go to the full-fledged bank, you can only get Islamic banking product. But if you go to the window banking bank, you can get conventional banking product, you can get the Islamic banking product. So that is the two different things. So because of that, there are many issues raised. And from the audit, from the review that I have done with my team when I was in the under Bank Negara last time, when we go to do the audit and so on, these are the 5 areas that I found very critical that everybody need to understand well. These are the areas, the blue one, okay, top one until the down one. Let's go one by one. Yeah. Number one, we are talking about the transparency. Ladies and gentlemen, transparency is very important. Sometimes the staff to the customer. Sometimes when the customer come to the bank, when they want to get any facilities, they don't care about the rules and regulations. They don't care about the terms and conditions. They just sign. So this is a very important information to all the bankers. If, for example, they want to sign the agreement with the customer, at least please tell the customer the most important terms and conditions. What is the amount of the facility, the facility amount? What is the monthly installment that they have to pay? For how long? That's an example. Very important terms that you need to let the customer know. The customer, you have to pay back, on the due date. When is the due date? The due date will be on the 1st the 1st of January 2022, and after that you have to pay for before the due date. If you pay after the due date, then there will be charged upon you because late payment. For example, the transparency. The staff must ensure the customer understand the agreement that they sign. Otherwise, the customer will come and complain. Oh, I do not know. Last time when I signed the agreement, no one tell me about this, about that. So that is very, very important. So this is one of the issue of compliance, the transparency. We need to ensure that the customer understand well about the agreement that they are signing. And also, we need to keep them aware. The customer should be able to ask. The customer should be educated enough to ask the question before they sign the agreement. So this is the awareness program should be conducted, by the bank or by whoever necessary thing to educate the customer about their right. So that the first issues compliance is the transparency. The second one, ladies and gentlemen, is about the understanding product and services. Okay, it's very, very important. So what happened in Malaysia? The Central Bank of Malaysia has instructed all the bank must come out with the product disclosure sheet, PDS. This is the word, product disclosure sheet. What is this PDS? This PDS is the description about the product that the bank want to sell to the customer. So meaning that if the customer want to subscribe to the product, they should read this product disclosure sheet first. This product disclosure sheet basically will be available where? In the website of the bank. And some of the bank, they will print out the product disclosure sheet and they give it a copy to the customer when the customer comes in to sign in for the product and facility. It's very important. In the PDS, in the product disclosure sheet, they will tell the customer what are the contract used. Murabahah, istisna, salam, for example, ijarah, and so on. And what are the structure look like? Okay. And what is the rate of what you call the profit rate to be charged to the customer? Okay, what is their obligation? What is the bank obligation, for example? Okay, things like that will be specified in the product disclosure sheet. This product disclosure sheet, ladies and gentlemen, is only about 1 pager or 2 pages only, but it is available. It is a must. Issued by Bank Negara. All bank, please issue this product disclosure sheet before you can offer the product to the public. Okay, but the issue here again about the understanding of the product. Some of the banks, some of the bankers, some of the staff of the bank do not follow the what we call the manual. Do not follow the procedures. They forget to give the PDS to the customer, for example. They do not be able to explain to the customer about the product. The customer comes in, they want to buy the product. Let's say they want to do a fixed what we call fixed term financing. Then the bankers give them the floating term financing. Floating rate. The customer asking for fixed rate, but they are giving the floating rate, for example. So these are some of the things sometimes issues that has been raised by the bank that happened in the bank. Next one, fail to follow SOP. Every bank in Malaysia must have standard operating procedure, SOP. Yes, they have. If they do not have, it's a wrong lah. They need to have. But again, people is always people. They do not follow the SOP. Maybe they are so ignorant, or sometimes the SOP is only available in the head office, but in the branches of the bank there is no SOP, not available in the branches, only in the head office, for example. So this is the issue. So when it comes in, there is no SOP. The staff cannot refer if they have anything to when the customer comes in to sign the facility and so on. They just do it They just do it as what they know. Okay, and if they have problem, they do not know where to get the information and so on. This is very, very important. Standard operating procedure must be available not only at the head office, it must be available to all the branches that you have. Maybe one day you are becoming one of the CEOs of the bank, for example. Take note of this. You must take care of the head office, and you also must take care of the branches on the compliance things. Okay, so this is your job as the leader in the bank later, inshallah. Okay, the next one, lack of competency in the product contracts. When we talk about product contracts, I think you know very well, we have under the Islamic finance, okay, we are not doing loan. We are not doing the contract of loan. Okay, in Islam, loan is only non-interest loan. You lend the money 1,000, you get back 1,000 only. But the bank cannot afford to do that. The bank is the business. The bank need to what we call to do the business, meaning that they cannot use loan contract in their product and services. That is why if you learn, I think you learn, everybody know about this. We are having the sale contract. We are having the partnership contract. We are having the what you call the leasing contract. I think you know very well that we have ijarah, we have under sale exchange contract, we have murabahah, we have istisna, we have salam, okay, and then we also have ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik, we have ijarah summa al-bay', okay, for example, and under the what we call it, under the what we call the participating contract, under the joint venture, we have mudarabah, we have musyarakah, we have musaqah, we have muzara'ah. So these are all the contracts that very, very important. They have their own pillars and their own terms and conditions of each of the contract that need to be understood well by the staff. So that is why in this case, what we suggest to the bank, they need to have a training. They have to brief the staff all the time, and they have to encourage the staff to do a lot of readings, training, briefing. Like today, what we are doing today, basically, is a training. It's a small briefing that we can share. That I can share with you. That perhaps it will help you whenever you will enter into the banking in Kuwait, for example, then at least you understand well about this. So beware of all these issues of compliance. Okay, the last one is very, very what we call I think everywhere people do not afraid of making mistake. Even though there are the rules, there are the SOP, there are manual policy, they just don't care. They just don't care. Why? Because there is no penalty charged upon them. Who are going to get charged? The board members, the Sharia committee like myself, okay, the management members. But the staff at most they are terminated from the job. That's all. But they are not going to be charged. Ladies and gentlemen, in Malaysia, under the Islamic Financial Services Act 2013, if the board members, if the Sharia committee members like myself, if the management careless, meaning that they do the mistake, purposely do the mistake on Sharia, they will be fined. They will be fined 25 million ringgit Malaysia, or imprisonment, go to prison for 8 years, or both, if they are found guilty. There is the regulatory in Malaysia. Capital punishment for those who are not doing the correct thing in accordance to Sharia. I don't know in Kuwait, do they have it or not, but I think this is the first, what we call law in the world, I think, that put the capital punishment for those directors, Sharia committee and management who do not follow the Sharia requirement as mentioned by the Central Bank of Malaysia. Just to let you know, All right. So these are a very, very important, what we call the very important slide, the issues that I share in Malaysia. All right. Okay. Next. Next. Okay. These are the risk. Let's touch a bit on the risk. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, in Malaysia, we have dual banking, right? We have conventional banking, we have Islamic banking. In Islamic banking, we have another unique risk. In conventional banking, we have generic risk, but no unique risk. But in Islamic banking, we have generic risk and we have unique risk. What does it mean? Let's say we have Islamic bank, one Islamic bank. The Islamic bank, their risk is basically includes credit risk, market risk, liquidity risk, operational risk, and also equity investment risk, displaced commercial risk, Sharia non-compliant risk, rate of return risk. That is the risk for Islamic bank. For conventional bank, their risk is only credit risk, market risk, liquidity risk, and operational risk. So these are some of the risks that you need to know. So if you want to do the what we call it, if you want to do professional qualification, certification, and so on, this is a favorite question asked. What is generic risk? What is unique risk? If you come to Malaysia, you want to do professional qualification paper, there are a lot of professional qualification papers in Malaysia. You have to know this. All right. So these are the risks. Okay, what are those risks? I'm going to explain to you one by one later. This one, This is a generic risk. Every bank in Malaysia, we have 54 banks, 54 banks. All these banks, they have this type of risk. They have credit risk. What is credit risk? The customer do not pay. If the customer do not pay, that is credit risk. Market risk is talking about what? The price movement, talking about the rates, interest rate going up, going down, foreign exchange, talking about the equity price, economic value, and asset. These are more on the market risk. And if everything happened in US, we also impacted, be it conventional or Islamic, right? The rate, interest rate raised in US, we also impacted. In Kuwait, impacted. In Malaysia, also impacted. So these are the market risk that we are talking about. Liquidity rate, we are talking about the bank, whether the bank is able to meet its obligation to fund the increase in asset. Okay. And last one, the operational risk. Operational risk talking about the process, internal process, the people, the system. These are very, very important. Normally, the most frequent non-Sharia compliance come from this operational risk. Okay, to be careful on this part. Be it conventional bank, Islamic bank, still the same. Operational risk is very, very always happen. Now we look at next one, the generic, the unique risk only for Islamic bank. What is Sharia compliant risk? Of course, the non-compliant risk is not the failure to comply with Sharia rules and principles. In this case, in the bank, if the bank do not follow the Sharia governance issued by the bank, Sharia governance issued by the central bank, then Sharia non-compliant happen. Rate of return risk, this is a potential impact on the return caused by unexpected change in the rate of return. US, for example, raised the interest rate. Islamic also impacted. Indirectly, it's not direct, but indirectly as well. Because we are still small. Because Islamic banking now is working under the umbrella of conventional banking. That one, we cannot do anything. We have to accept it. And we have to do something, changes to ensure that, we try as much as we can to comply with the Sharia requirement. Okay, rate of return risk. And then we have displaced commercial risk. What is displaced commercial risk? It's talking about the, sometimes, we have let's say we have fixed deposit, Islamic and fixed deposit conventional. If the fixed deposit Islamic normally will depend on the performance, right? You are not going to tell them what is the interest rate earlier. It's depending on the profit sharing ratio. All right, Islamic. Conventional, they fix it already. Okay. Once you want to issue the dividend to the customer, when you calculate the conventional at that time for 12-month FD, giving 5%, for example. Islamic giving only 3%. So the displaced commercial risk, meaning that the bank will try to put in their profit sharing ratio up to the customer so that the rate going to become the same, 5%. Why? Because if they let the customer, they pay the customer only 3%, then the customer might run away from Islamic, then they go to conventional. That's what they call it as a displaced commercial risk that the bank have to think about it as well. All right. Next one, equity investment risk. This one is know very well under mudarabah and the musyarakah. We cannot, fix the return. We can only fix the what we call the profit sharing ratio, and we cannot guarantee the capital. We cannot guarantee the the profit as well. Okay, so these are some of the things that unique risks that happen to Islamic Bank at the moment. Just for your information lah, yeah. Just for information. All right. Next one. Now I know that later if any of you to be got the chance to become the auditor, to become the compliance officer, compliance manager in the bank, for example, these are the areas of concern for you to think about. Okay, number one is talking about the product endorsement and approval. You must make sure that the product go through all the committee, the board, the audit committee, the risk committee, not risk, the risk committee, Sharia committee, and then after that board to get the endorsement first. You cannot simply do that. Cannot simply just endorse just like that. Okay, system and procedure and documentation, again, must be very, very careful on it. Okay, because why? Because sometimes the document, if the document is found to be non-Sharia, non-compliant, then you cannot take the income. You cannot take the income because the document is wrong. For example, you have to channel out the income that you get to any of the charitable organization and so on, and that's a loss for the bank. Of course, your CEO, your board member will get very angry. Yeah. All right. Next one, positioning, branding, and promotion. Sometimes over positioning, over branding, over promotion, they forgot about the line Sharia. Okay, if you want to do positioning, branding, and promotion, you must make sure that the ethics must be there, the business conduct must be there. Okay, I think you know very well. You have in your we have our fee standard, we have IFSB, and business conduct. So all these very, very important. IFSB number 9 or number 10, if I'm not mistaken, talking about the business conduct that you have to follow. All right, so these are very, very important benchmark. What we call it, the piawaian. Piawaian is the standards that we need to follow. Yeah? And then again, the next one, conflicts of resolution. Sometimes the Sharia committee and the board do not agree each other. So what to do? Sharia committee say, no, board, you cannot do this. But the board said, no, we want to do. So how are we going to handle this? So we have the arbitration. You will need to have the arbitration. This is another issue as well that's happening. Happening in Malaysia. Of course, later it may be happening in Kuwait. I don't know. Risk assessment and management. Risk assessment is very important. You must make sure that you have to identify the potential risk and so on. Okay, and performance, efficiency, and equitable. You also need to do, is it the risk and the performance? How it look like. Okay, if you have to balance out the risk and the performance. Okay, last one is the disclosure and reporting. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, in Malaysia, all Islamic banking and also commercial banking, the disclosure and reporting to Bank Negara is very, very important. Okay, almost they have every month, every quarterly, every half yearly, every yearly, even sometimes every day, there's a report that should be sent to our central bank. So that is something is very important as well for the Sharia compliance to make sure that we follow suit lah. We don't want, for example, sometimes for the window banking, for example, window banking is the bank can offer Islamic and conventional. They mismatch. They want to send the report on Islamic, but they send the conventional one. If they want to send the conventional one, they send the Islamic one. So this is very, very important as well. So the Sharia compliance must take care of that. Yeah? This slide is talking about the area of concern in Sharia compliance. Next. Okay. People confused. I also the last time confused. What is Sharia review? What is Sharia audit? What is the difference between review and audit? You can read here. You can read here. You can have a copy later. But to put it in my word, review is the things that you do it every month. You do it every week. Regular review. Every time after you close down on the day, you can check back. Make sure that everything, all the documents, all the brochures, for example, things issued by the customer is all tip-top. Audit is different. Audit, basically, you do it once a year. Okay, but the importance of Sharia review is basically to ensure that if you spot the mistake, you can mitigate it earlier. So that is why the Sharia review must be done on a regular basis. The definition, Sharia review in the form of regular assessment on the Sharia compliance activities, whereby the Sharia audit conducted periodically, normally will be half yearly or once a year, provided independent assessment and objective assurance designed to add value and improve the bank's compliance. Nampak the difference, the two. You can read this one, you can read and then you can understand better. But what I'm trying to say to you, the review must be done almost regularly, every month, every week, and so on. But Sharia audit, you can do it only once, maybe half yearly or maybe on yearly basis. Okay. Next. Okay. Now, why Sharia compliance is very important? Okay, the reason, there are three reasons I can put here. Number one is actually what happened is that if, for example, we want to have Sharia compliant because we want to uphold the Sharia in our Islamic banking, and we want to ensure that the confidence level of our stakeholders, our public, about our product and services. So that's why we need to have Sharia compliant. Number two, if, for example, anything wrong happen, Sharia non-compliant, it will make the customer don't like, the customer dislike about the bank, about Islamic bank. Then they will withdraw the money. And when they withdraw the money, what happens is that it will have the financial loss for the bank. Okay, because the bank now compete with conventional bank. And you know very well in Malaysia, for example, we are not 100% is a Muslim here. Even at the moment in Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen, just want to let you know, in Malaysia, two-thirds, almost 66% of the Islamic banking, Islamic finance product customers are non-Muslim. I repeat, 66% of the customer, Islamic finance customer in Malaysia are non-Muslim. So they are also concerned about Sharia. If for example, Sharia is not doing well, for example, then they can withdraw and they go to the conventional banks. The third one, if anything happen in the financing product, whatever that we have, the bank cannot recognize the profit that they get. That is the regulation from Bank Negara. What we need to know, that profit must be channeled out. Must be channeled out to who? To any any charitable organization that has been approved by the Sharia. Or sometimes they pass it over to Baitul Mal. It also can. So this slide is talking the importance of Sharia compliance. Okay, these are some of the, I want to share with you some of the non-compliance that happen in Malaysia, banks, in Islamic financial institution in Malaysia. Okay, number one is basically the purpose of the financing is used for Sharia non-compliant purpose. This is one of the issue. All right. Sometimes they get the money in the document, in the agreement, they say that the utilization of the money must be used for the purpose of Sharia compliant only, but they use for other purpose. Okay, other purpose which is not compliant. Okay, later we discuss what is the things that not compliant. Okay, no asset being used to derive on selling price. Meaning that sometimes you do the buy and sell, but there is no asset. There is no there is no no asset. Buy and sell. It's only, you know, on the sky only. But you need to have if there is a sale contract, you need to have the asset. You must explain, you must describe the asset that you are going to buy and sell. All right. And then number three is on the, this is more on the, before you do the trading, the bank already disbursed the money to the customer. That happened. In Malaysia, for example, you need to do the trading first. Once the trading done, then you can disburse. But what happened? They disburse first, trading done later. Another Sharia non-compliant. Okay, no wakalah arrangement involved in community murabah. This is more on the community murabah product that we have in Malaysia, meaning that the bank is doing the buy and sell on behalf of the customer, but the customer do not sign the wakalah letter. All right, and then number 5 talking about the document itself. The document restrict the customer from receive the product from taking delivery of the commodity that they buy from the bank. Okay, very important as well. And then of course, that's number 6, miscalculation of the ta'wid. Ta'wid is compensation charge. And then we have the gharamah. Gharamah is penalty. Gharamah in Bank Negara regulation, if you charge to the customer, the gharamah, you cannot recognize as income. You must channel out to charitable body or Baitul Mal. Okay, marketing campaign and brochures without Sharia approval. This is another Sharia non-compliant. Intercharge fee from non-halal merchant. Income purification is wrongly conducted. Okay, this is more on technical issue. They know that the amount is it cannot be recognized by income, but the way how they calculate it is wrong. All right, and then sometimes there is no sequencing document, because sometimes in a sale contract they have 2 ways. I sell to you, after that you sell to me. I sell to you, after that you sell third party. Okay, but what happens is that you sell to me, you sell to A, sell to B, B sell to C. But in what happened, B sell to C first. After that, baru A sell to B, which is wrong. It must be A sell to B, B sell to C. But in this case, the B sell to C first, and then after that, the A sell to B. So what is the goods that said B sell to C? No goods, no what we call no merchant, no asset. So it's wrong. All right, and also some of the element of riba, garar, and maisir exist in the contract. This is more on the on the agreement that has been designed for the bank lah. Okay, this is for musyarakah and mudarabah. This is more on the guarantee, more on the joint venture contract. They fix the rate, the profit, and they guarantee the capital, which is not right. You cannot do that. All right, and the last one, commitment fees charged to the customer. Okay, these are some of the sample of non-compliant that has been picked up that I'm going to share with you in Malaysia. that happened in the Islamic banking in Malaysia. Yeah. Okay. These are the prohibition. Bank is not allowed to do transaction. Two things. Number one, non-permissible, and second one, unethical practices. Okay. Of course, riba, garar, and maisir definitely no. It's a no-no. Huh? But the point here is that the business that whenever the business comes to the bank to get the credit facility, you have to ask what are the activities and how it will be done. What is the nature of business and what are the purpose of the business? So you look at the non-permissibility and article. What are the things that in Malaysia is not allowed? This is a non-permissible. Non-permissible. Sharia non-compliant banking activities. That's number one. Insurance activities, pork-related industry activities, non-halal food, interest income from banking accounts, dividend from Sharia non-compliant investment, okay, other than Sharia approved share trading activities. Okay, for example, like in Malaysia, in Bursa Malaysia, we have 900 plus shares. Okay, 700 of the shares are Sharia compliant, but some of the customer they buy the share which is not the non-Sharia compliant. Okay, so that one, the income derived, you cannot use it as the recognized as an income. And last one, other activities deemed not comply according to Sharia. This is what we call non-permissible. How about unethical? Unethical gambling, liquor, prostitution, entertainment, non-Sharia, tobacco. In Malaysia, tobacco, minta maaf, tobacco, sorry, if you are the owner of the factory, the tobacco factory, you come to get the financing from Islamic banking, sorry, you are not going to get the financing. A rental fee received from non-Sharia compliant business. Okay, and also I think in US, for example, in United States, the not ethical is also weaponry. Yeah, weaponry. When the weapon, the factory of weapon come to the Islamic bank, for example, if they want to come to Islamic bank, if they want to do the business, then get the facility, the bank will not allow, because the weaponry in US used for other purpose. They are producing the weapon to supply it to other countries to war among themselves. Yeah. But in Malaysia, for example, we have some of the weaponry, what we call factory, but small one, but that one is just to produce the bullet for the farmers. For example, they want to kill the birds, to kill the monkey, for example, that come to their what you call their gardens. They have the gardens and so on, and to get the fruits, eat the fruit and so on. Again, so the farmers normally they will use the gun and the bullets to kill that monkeys and so on lah. Okay, that one okay, no problem. Okay, next one, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are going quite fast here now. Sharia non-compliant. There are three types of Sharia non-compliant. Number one, severe, very bad. Number two, medium, well, medium. And third one, still tolerable. Three types of compliant. What happened next? If, for example, the Sharia non-compliant is very big, meaning that it is severe, the agreement will be nullified. All the profit collected from the customer cannot be recognized as income. What needs to be done? To channel out to charitable bodies or Baitul Mal. The new agreement to be executed by the bank, and that agreement must be approved by the appointed Sharia committee, Sharia advisors, and so on. That is number one. In fact, if the non-compliant is very severe. Severe, for example, you are doing the buy and sell contract, you are doing the sale contract, but you are using the loan contract, for example. Totally different. Okay, sale contract and loan contract, two different things. All right, so that is make the agreement now will be nullified lah. Next one, the medium one. The medium one is something like, the agreement is incomplete, not complete, and cannot be enforceable from Sharia perspective. In Arabic, I think you know well, they fasid, F-A-S-I-D, fasid. Fasid is basically incomplete. So what needs to be done is basically they need to make sure that they have to complete the agreement. They have to amend the agreement. They have to what we call to revise the agreement to ensure that it meets the Sharia requirement. Okay, the returns actually can be recognized, but subject to approval by the Sharia advisor. Normally, a Sharia advisor say, okay, next time, this is the correct one, the correct document, you have to do like that. So when the revision has been done, then the document already, becoming enforceable, then they can do it. All right, they have to rectify it. Okay, and then after that, should be okay. So this is the medium, what we call types of Sharia non-compliant. And the last one is the tolerable Sharia non-compliant, which is the agreement is still enforceable. This is an example. The example is something like, you have the documents, and the document is basically sale contract between the seller and the buyer. But one word we forgot, we miswritten it. We put it loan, or we put it lender, we put it borrower, for example, in the document. That one is fine. So you have to change the words only. But the gist, the niat, what you call the purpose of the agreement very well known, which is the purpose is buy and sell agreement. It's not the loan agreement. Okay, all return can be recognized, no problem, but we need to, or the bank need to notify to the Sharia advisor, to the Sharia committee about the one. And please do not repeat the same mistake. If you repeat the same mistake, then something wrong is that already. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last one. The last one that I'm going to share with you. Give me a few more minutes. The words that you always seen in banking, in the documentation. Ibra, what is Ibra? Ibra is rebate. Prepayment. Prepayment is the way whenever you pay the monthly installment, you pay more than the amount. And when you do the prepayment, the balance of the amount that you pay will reduce the principal. Okay, advance payment, you pay more every month. Let's say the monthly installment 1,000, you pay 2,000, for example. So if you pay prepayment, the 1,000 will be paid for that month, P plus I, okay, and the 1,000 extra will be reduce the principal balance. But advance payment, when you pay 2,000, they use the 1,000 to pay for that month, and this another 1,000 will be kept in the bank in the one special account. Okay, and then next month, then they use the money to pay. So meaning that if you do prepayment, you must pay every month. If you do advance payment, yes. If you pay double for this month, next month you don't have to pay. That is advance payment. Early settlement, you are going to full settle. You're financing 20 years. When it comes to 10 years, you said you want to do full settle, meaning what you want to settle all the financing or the loan amount that you have. So normally the bank will give you IBRA or to rebate. What is lock-in period? Lock-in period basically is the customer do not do the early settlement for a period. In Malaysia, normally lock-in period is 1 to 3 years time. 1, 2, or 3 years time. Why? Because normally the bank will give a very good rate for the customer for the first year, second year, third year. So because of that, the bank said that you cannot early settle this the financing. If you want to fully settle, you need to wait until the 4th year and above. Lock-in period. We have selling price. Selling price normally is talking about talking about the sale contract that we have. We must have selling price. Purchase price is the facility amount that we paid. The bank will disburse to the customer. Purchase price is the facility amount. We have the ceiling rate and effective rate. Ceiling rate, effective rate is only available for the type of financing using the floating rate. Floating rate meaning that we have one price. Price is depending on the ceiling rate. Ceiling rate is the maximum rate, contractual selling rate that has been used to calculate the selling price. Effective rate, how much the customer have to pay. Okay, every month. And this effective rate going up, going down, going up, going down, but will never exceeded the ceiling rate. And then we have what we call it the mukasah. Mukasah is the set off. Okay, we have wa'ad. Wa'ad is a promise, but in case of Malaysia, it's a binding promise. Of course, this the word in lieu. In lieu is a Latin expression. I think this one is more on the what we call it the legal words lah. Okay, for example, if the customer want to do the full settle, normally they will take the outstanding principal balance plus 3 months profit in lieu. Something like that. We have ta'wid. Ta'wid is compensation charge. If the customer do not pay on time, we can charge the ta'wid compensation charge to the customer. We have the OPR in this one in Malaysia. I think we have the overnight policy rate. We have base financing rate. We have base lending rate, and now we have standard base rate, the new one under Bank Negara Malaysia. This is the rate that to be charged to the customer, and this one, the effective rate here will be depending on the movement of the OPR, overnight policy rate here. Okay, and next one we have the reschedule and restructure. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand, reschedule is just to reschedule the agreement. The agreement still intact, but restructure, you close the old agreement and you come up with a new agreement. That is restructure. That is the terminologies that every single person must understand when they want to work in the bank. Reschedule, just reschedule. Let's say, you know, my monthly installment is 1,000 every month. I said that I cannot pay 1,000. Can I pay 500 for the next 6 months? The bank said, okay, you pay 500 ringgit for the next 6 months, but after that, another 6 months, you pay 1,500 to cover back that 500. That is the reschedule. But restructure is different. Restructure, you close the old one and you open the new one. Tier rate is basically the rate given to the customer for, you know, normally if the customer comes into the bank, want to buy the house, for example, in Malaysia, the bank will give you, okay lah, for the first year, second year, third year, I give you a very low rate. You only pay 1%, 2% only of the profit rate lah to the customer. But once after 4 years, then you have to pay the normal rate back, customer rate, which is 7% and so on. I think something like that. So this is a tier rate, what we call the tier rate, to make sure that the customer, you know lah, when the customer want to buy the new house, first house, they have to spend a lot of money for stamp duty. They want to buy their new house, and they want to buy new bed, new fridge, new TV, for another thing. They need a lot of money to spend. So bank say, okay lah, we give you a very low rate first, but after that, after 4th year, then you have to pay a normal rate. This is what we call tier rate. And last one is the floating rate. This floating rate basically is the one that I'm talking about just now, the ceiling rate and the effective rate, meaning that the customer will pay to the bank, okay, but not fixed. Maybe 1,500, maybe 1,000, maybe 1,007, maybe 900, is depending on the movement of the overnight policy rate set by the Central Bank of Malaysia. This is the floating rate. But of course, this floating rate will never exceed the ceiling rate, which has been contracted earlier by the customer and the bank. All right, I think that is, thank you very much. This is something that I think the last, I take 10 minutes extra. I'm very sorry. I pass back to to Muhammad, brother Muhammad, Dr. Muhammad.
Yes, Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Thank you very much, Dr. Mashallah. It was really a wonderful session, and we have seen here participants enjoyed the lecture and they benefited as well, alhamdulillah. So thank you very much, Doctor. So now we open the floor for any
okay,
question.
Let me see the Q&A.
Yeah, any question or any
I have missed the first part of the webinar. Would you send again the presentation? Okay, I think Dr.
Yes.
Muhammad will send to you lah, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. I want to see the chat box. I want to see any of the question here. Boleh ah?
Yes,
Can I do
please.
that?
Yes, sure,
I want
sure.
to see any question. So kindly share slide at okay, share slide. Assalamualaikum. I need this material. Okay. Can you please send the presentation again? Okay, great. We will drop the slide here shortly. Question. Thanks a lot. This one in Arabic, I'm not too sure how to read this one. I'm sorry.
All of them, thank you very much,
Okay,
actually.
please
Yeah.
download. Okay, I just want to see any question. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome. I think one day I should go to Kuwait and meet you.
Inshallah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
normally we do Sharia audit quarterly. Yes, you can do it Sharia quarterly. No problem at all. No problem at all. Okay. Anything? Any questions you want to ask me? Let's take one question, for example, if you have.
Yes, please. If you have any question, you may raise your hand or you may write in the question box. I think there is one question. Yeah?
Is on lending allowed in banking? What is on lending? What is on lending? I'm not to understand ON.
On lending, is it the loan based? I guess. Yeah. What does he mean?
All right. In Islamic banking, we have 18 Islamic financial institutions, full-fledged Islamic financial institutions here in Malaysia. Yes, sometimes we give the lending, the loan. We give the loan, but we never charge the extra. We never charge. If we give 1,000, we will ask the customer to pay back 1,000. We never take any single cent. If we take the single any extra, that will become riba already. Riba Al-Quran. Riba Al-Quran already. This is what you call riba buyuk, not buyuk, duyun. Riba duyun already. I think you know very well on the riba. We have riba Al-Quran, which is riba because of the lending. Another one, riba of the exchange. Riba of exchange, basically talking about ribawi item. And think you know very well, riba nasi'ah. If you do not pay on spot and you delay the deliverable. Riba fault, for example, if the weight is different, that one is exchange riba. But under the riba loan riba, we have riba part. You lend 1,000, you have extra, that one riba part. If the customer pay late, you charge, that one is riba jahiliyah, which is also type of riba which is not allowed from Islam point of view lah. So I think that is the another topic that we can discuss. I think I think all of you are very smart already. You know it already, but you all just want to recap it already. Okay, on lending situation in which one Islamic bank borrow money from World Bank and use the money to lend to the customer. Okay, all right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment in Malaysia, I'm sharing with you what happened in Malaysia. Normally Islamic bank in Malaysia, they have their shareholders. They have the shareholders and also they have the mother. I can say the mother because the Islamic banking is born from the conventional banking. For example, like I think one bank, let's say Maybank. We have one of the largest bank in Malaysia. It's Maybank. Maybank basically is the conventional bank, but Maybank has give birth to Maybank Islamic. Maybank Islamic is one entity. That one is under Islamic Bank. Maybank Group, another Maybank is conventional. Okay, if for example, when they born, if for example the what you call the Islamic Bank need money, they will borrow from the mother. And the mother will give them the money. And it depends. Under Islamic banking and under the what you call it, IFSA, for example. Under conventional bank, because the mother relationship, but they are still can give some of the money to the to the Islamic bank. But normally Islamic bank, what they are doing, they are raising the suku. When they raise the suku, then the mother can buy also the suku from the
Islamic one.
Islamic one, yeah. I think you know very well on this one lah. Okay, next one. I would like to ask why profit rate in Islamic banking is higher than conventional bank in Malaysia. My lecturer once said it's because the Islamic bank is new banking. It is wrong. I can tell you it is totally wrong information. Okay, if you say that Islamic banking rate is higher than conventional banking, then the whoever is must prove it. Okay, now you can see normally the rate, the profit rate is basically almost the same between conventional and Islamic. Okay, that is the answer. That is the answer so far. If you you really want to do, you can do some research, and of course, you can see that the rate, even in Islamic banking, there are so many what we call it, the rate is different. Last time, yes, when we talk about 1983, only one Islamic bank available in Malaysia. But now, okay, out of 54 banks, 54 banks, we have 32 banks, 32 banks offering Islamic banking product. If you go to one bank, very expensive, then you go to another bank. You have another 31 banks to go. Don't go to one bank and then Islamic bank, go to conventional bank, and then you make comparison. You say expensive. It's not right. It's wrong. You have to go to and see another 31 banks rate, whether it's high or not. But sometimes the rate is much more better than conventional bank. Okay, that is the answer for that one. Waalaikumsalam. You mentioned about some issue, those not follow Sharia, no Sharia compliant. Could you please give us the reference for this issue? Not for, because all the not follow Sharia, what this one is basically normally only the auditor, only the Sharia advisor, like myself. I am one of the Sharia committee members of the bank. So when there is any issues, they will bring it to me, to us lah. We have a committee, so we look at the thing, and all that information basically PNC, private and confidential. We cannot release it to you and so on. But of course, through this kind of what you call discussion, I can tell you that there is the things. But if you Dia, if you really want to know, you can do. You can do the master, or you can do the PhD later, and you get the letter from Kuwait University, and you can engage me. For example, you not engage, you can Dr. RAZLI, can I you make you one of the respondent? Then I can release to you some of the information which is, I think, can be released. See, if I wrongly release the information, what happened to me? 25 ringgit Malaysia, 25 million ringgit Malaysia, and 8 years in imprisonment. I don't want to go to the jail. I'm still, things like that. All right, next one. I have sent 2 questions by email. Please read. Okay, later I will answer the question. Yeah, thank you very much. Ismail Ali. I will, inshallah, I will answer. If I forgot, please remind me. I'm 56 years old already. I'm old. Sometimes I forgot. Yeah. Thank you very much for the question. Okay, thank you. Is it Sharia compliant to express profit rate as a function of time? This is the time value of money. Yes, time value of money is recognizable. You can check. You type letter, Ismail Ali. You can in your Google. You can type time value of money, Bank Negara Malaysia, and then perhaps the link will show you the resolution made by the Sharia Advisory Council, Bank Negara Malaysia, to talk about time of money. Time of money is allowable if, for example, you want to buy the asset, buy the asset. But if you want to do loan, it's different. Loan cannot. You have to buy the asset, because the value of money today is very expensive compared to the price of today in 20 years time. Okay, so that is the explanation towards that. Perhaps you can go Google and check with that one. Okay, Ali, if I have time, you remind me again in your email. I can try to get the resolution to tell you why the time value of money is allowed under Islamic finance, Islamic banking. Boleh ya? Boleh ya? Okay, next one. Okay, no more. I send 2 questions. Okay. I pass back to Dr. Muhammad.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much. Inshallah, Doctor, next month I'm going to contact you again to have another session. Might be the topic might be like procedures of transformation of conventional banking to Islamic banking, something like that, maybe, inshallah. Or we can discuss later on, inshallah. So
Okay, one more question. I just want to answer this question. Very smart
Yes,
question.
yes, Prof. Yes,
From who is this? Said, right? Said.
yes, Saeed Masood, right.
Okay, a very smart question. Professor, Assalamualaikum. Do Malaysia government compulsory for Islamic window bank to have their own Sharia committee? The answer is yes. Or the Bank Negara Sharia committee as the one of no. Every bank who want to exercise Islamic banking, they need to have their own Sharia committee member, and their Sharia committee members basically will be reported directly to the Sharia board from Bank Negara, from the central bank. Okay, meaning that window banking, if they want to do Islamic banking, they must have their own Sharia
Sharia
committee.
board.
And that Sharia board must be approved. The individual inside there must be approved by the Central Bank of Malaysia. Very good question. Very good question. Okay, pass back to you, brother.
No problem. Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay.
I think any more question? I don't think so. So, my dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, inshallah, we will see you again in next week with another session in English language. And of course, Dr. RAZLI, RAMLI, inshallah, will be delivering another lecture in next month. Inshallah, we will inform you later. I think there is another question from Saeed.
Why Islamic Banking Malaysia not used to offer internship job for the international student for the Islamic banking? Why? This one you should ask all the Islamic bank in Malaysia lah. Actually, they have.
They have, doctor. They have.
They have a few international students also as an internship doing in the bank, but but not many. But they have. You have to be smart enough to get the
opportunity
lah to come in. If you can join, it will be great for you as well. Okay, all right.
I think you can also get any recommendation from any expert in Malaysia like Dr. RAZLI. So it's easy to yeah.
Why not? Kan?
Yeah, inshallah.
Okay. All right. Okay, don't forget to send the ticket. Okay, that one.
Okay, sure. Brother, you can also download it from our official page, Facebook page, in Twitter, in website. We usually, post the lecture and the link, our YouTube link, in our official Facebook page and also in our website. So you can get it there as well, inshallah. So thank you very much, all the participants, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us today. May Allah bless you all. And our special thanks to our honorable guest speaker, Dr. RAZLI, for this wonderful session and for providing us brilliant ideas and also issues and also how to solve these issues in the Islamic banking services and also transactions. So we thank you very much, Prof, for this wonderful time on behalf of our Nadil Iqtisad Islami from the Kuwait University. And we thank our staff and our buddies in Islamic Economics Association, especially Dr. Alal Orbit, Director General of the Islamic Economics Association. So with that, we conclude our today's session here. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Assalamu alaikum.